3, 2,
Recording
1.
in progress.
Recording in progress. Good morning. This is Animal on Control. Welcome to the voice chat. These calls are pre-recorded for upload to social media, and by joining a call, you're consenting to being recorded. Anyone wishing to join a call should email me at animaloncontrol@gmail.com, and I will reply with instructions. Today's topics: new member. What are we for? More mutts in grocery stores, and dog park freakout. Joining me is Mr. J and the new member, who I'll call Ms. Mutts. How are you?
Doing great.
All right. So usually you're the newbie. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what interests you in the space.
So I have a cleaning business. I've been doing that for about 3 years. And it is because of the frequent interaction with dogs that have been aggressive to me, and just seeing the state of these homes that I clean that have all these dogs in them, have just set something off in me. I've had several clients' dogs be aggressive towards me. One actually lunged towards me, trying to attack me. I've got just all of the houses with dogs they're grimy, they smell, being around them so much, just the more and more I was around them, the more and more irritated I found them, the more annoying, the more disgusting. And then finally, after this one client's dog, kept continuously being aggressive towards me, I'm like, I don't think I even like these things. So I Googled, like, I hate dogs. Just like, is this, does who else feels this way? And I came across IHD's channel, and then I was led to yours, K9, Ashley, and just listening to all of your stories, and doing like research and finding out all of these just negative effects that these creatures have. I'm like,
Yep.
I absolutely hate these things.
Well, and for good reason. Like I always say, people have very personal reasons for being in this space. Like, this isn't just an abstraction. It's not like getting wound up over, a civil war in Yemen or something. Right? It's very, very personal, particularly because you go to a workspace, and you always wonder, because I know that your complaint is very, very common, because people who, the workplace is someone else's home. So you've got, cleaning people, electricians, plumbers, movers, right? And they always say, we're aggressed towards by these things. The owners don't make an attempt to control them. I'm trying to rewire, a breaker box, and Rover is jumping all over me. And the owner doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's like, oh, he's friendly. So, and it's totally rational, and nobody can take that away from you either. Right? Like, no. It's not like, again, like with some geopolitical issue, it's like, oh, okay, like whatever CNN or Fox News was showing turned out to be pure propaganda. That's not what this is. These are your personal experiences, and nobody can take that away from you. But usually, again, our adversary just says, well, you moron, you deranged, you got problems.
Well, the keynote to entertain here is what Miss Mutts said, is she did research. That's something the dog culture never seems to do. When we got into this, the same way I got turned on to this space, likewise with Miss Mutts' story, how I got turned on to it, working with them, interacting with them, thinking about it, looking back, reflecting, going through, and you realize that I've never liked them. But to her point, she researched. She looked up, not to cut you off, she looked up what it was that she didn't like.
Yeah, and you realize it's like, I'm not, that's what the part of the realization is, I'm not crazy. I'm actually quite normal. Really, it's these other things that are exceptional in a bad way. Yep.
Right. And like, I after being like, oh no, they carry, this, bacteria, they eat their own poop. They roll around in, feces and dead things, and, they're loud and noxious, and they hump you, and they just, everything about them so revolting. And like, after like I really like, this sounds a bit dramatic, embraced dog hatred. I'm like, like looking back on my life, I'm like, I've always been kind of annoyed by them. Like, I have family members that have dogs that are just unruly and untrained, and they jump all over you and they bark, and I'm like, man, this thing's, really annoying, but like, maybe that's just me. And I'm like, no, it's not just me. These things suck.
Have you ever been, gone into, because we've talked about that on here, how the dog or dogs will just destroy the home. Have you ever been in a home that was just basically a biohazard site? There's just piles of dog poo everywhere, and you have to clean it up. Would you share some of that? I know, like, you can be graphic because it was like PG-13 on here. You can be a bit graphic if you want. So,
one house that I clean, and it's so, just a brief little aside. When I initially started this, I had like maybe 2 houses that had dogs. So, I wasn't interacting with them. But as the years have gone on, I've had clients get dogs. I've had new clients that have had dogs. So I've just had, more and more exposures to them. But one longtime client that I have, they have not one, but they have 4 huskies. And these things are loud. They have carpet, and it's dingy. Like, it's visually like dingy, and you see like soiled areas. You come in, and it is just this overwhelming smell of just dog. I had my fiance, he came over to visit me, and he said he'd come and help me clean. And this is one of the houses that we came to, and he's like, after we left, he's like, I am concerned about your health being in that house. He's like, that is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's a biohazard. Probably, if anything else, because it's a point I always make, is that dogs and dog owners always get a pass on everything. But if that were expressed any other way, probably the place would be shut down and by the EPA or something, because it's a biohazard site. Yeah, it is. It's actually dangerous. It's hazardous to health.
And like, I don't I have a good relationship with all of my clients. If I didn't, I wouldn't work for them. So, I, aside from the fact that, they're dog nutters, like, I like them. And I'm like, that is just unfortunate that you choose to live like this. Like, this, it's not good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not good that they subject you to it, because particularly with the aggressive dogs, it's like, you have a right to, peaceful, and, the workplace should be as safe as possible, right? I mean, some workplaces are more dangerous than others. Like, you're not, a Marine Corps infantry on the front line of a war, right? Like, your job should not present a lot of danger, but unfortunately, due to these creatures being in the home, it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Sorry, Mr. J, you're going to say something?
Oh, no, I was just laughing at what you guys were saying. But to add to that, not just to laugh and get off, I've had more jobs than the whole family of the Jamaicans in Living Color. And one of the jobs I had was unfortunate to work was I was a casual mail carrier. And I think that's where it really turned up the notch on being a dog hater.
Oh yeah, like mail carriers hate dogs. In fact, I've heard there's a retirement community for, like, I guess if you work, maybe you have to work for USPS directly, but that doesn't allow dogs at all. I don't know if they're able to get around, the ESA and service dog loopholes, but maybe since if you have a community entirely of mail carriers, that's not an issue because none of them are going to have a dog anyway, so you don't have to worry about the loopholes as much. But I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
Well, they vote you out. You know, they would literally vote you out.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. I've heard about it. It's out here, but I haven't really researched it much. The Screen Actors Guild. That's why a lot of these actors, you really don't see them around in most neighborhoods. They have a retirement community they can go to. And it's somewhere near the beach, and it's where they can live. And so they're not being bothered by paparazzi or people following them around. It's like their own little community and everything.
Yep.
But I'm heard it's not really a lot of dogs in there from what I've heard.
Huh, that's surprising. Because you'd think those Hollywood people are super weird already.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is dog pushing. It's like I posted some photos of everyone just posts their shit, on their own channels or whatnot. But whatever little tidbits I get, I put them up. And one of my subs gave me this photo of Ozzy's last picture, and he's like smiling with like I guess that's supposed to be the Joker. I mean Sharon Osbourne next to him, and she's got these two dogs, and he's like leaning over, smiling towards them. It says it's one of his last photos. Don't you have kids and grandkids? Shouldn't that have been your last photo?
Yeah.
Right?
Some people are nuts, tell you. Hey, I wanted to dive into some of the topics. One thing I wanted to talk about was, with all the stuff that's going on in the space, I wanted to talk about, okay, we know what we don't like or what we don't support, but it kind of raises a question, like, what do we, or maybe I'll just speak for myself and people can agree or disagree, although I hope most people at least. What are we for? And you get into like why, I mean, I've got my personal experiences also, and I've shared those quite a bit. But, in the abstract, what I don't like about dog culture, or the problem with it, is it's fundamentally dis-civic. Right? It's dis-civic, it's counter to civic or basic civilizational values. It's antisocial, undemocratic, fundamentally unjust. Okay? Because, how so? It's because, dogs and dog owners are given all kinds of special consideration in the, not just in the culture and in law and public policy and so forth. So what I assert are civic values. So if you want to say, like, what exactly are we talking about, right? Let me just do, and of course I know, but civics is a study of the rights and responsibilities of citizenship, including the theoretical, political, and practical aspects of participating in a democracy. Now, the thing is, like I said, these dog nutters have basically, they've trashed these values and sort of created a neo-aristocracy where they get to lord over everybody else and just do whatever they want with no consequences. Because one basic civic value is personal accountability. If you want to live in a society, you're at least, not necessarily you two, and everybody is at least passively agreeing to be held accountable, meaning that what you do can be held against you. Now, that does not, or not never, but rarely applies to dog people. So that sort of illustrating the fundamental unjust nature of it. So if you say, what are you for? What am I for? I'm asserting civic values. I'd like to return to a more equitable, or if not return to, at least impose a more equitable social order, particularly in this space, because, civic values are threatened by other things, but those things are addressed. This is not. So it hasn't really gotten into the public consciousness yet that there's a very unjust scenario here that needs to be addressed. So just something for folks to think about. And I was talking to some other folks like Joe and Rodney and a few other people, about this. Because you want to say, like, well, okay, you hate dogs, you hate dog owners. You hate all the privileges they get, but what are you for? So this is what I'm for, and I think that most people in the space would agree. It's just something to think about. I don't want to dwell on it too much on this call because I want to dive into some other topics. Some stuff actually I might find very entertaining because I know this is kind of dry, so we'll get on with the fun stuff, even if it's just something that'll, get you all lathered up. But there's just something for folks to think about. We'll probably expand more on this on another segment. The other thing I wanted to segue into was, we got some good news on the, where is that? Oh, yeah, here it is. Court rule, going back to service dogs and dogs in places they don't belong. There was a dog bar. I guess you folks can see this. Was a dog bar in Tampa. And it was actually shut down by the Florida State Health Department, the Florida Department of Health. Okay, because apparently they had allowed this. They'd given him the permit. You see, here's this guy sitting at the bar, and there's at least 3 dogs here, maybe 4. It's kind of hard to tell. When I see this tail here on the lower right. So I'd been given a permit to open, but then the state came back and, okay, now I got to subscribe. But it was forced to close on June 7th after the Florida Department of Health reversed a decision allowing non-service animals inside drinking establishments because they're already banned where food is served and sold. But it's really kind of a fine line between, say, a bowl of soup and a glass of wine. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I'm trying
I was going to say, I can, while you're trying to figure that out, I can just kind of follow what you said about like what you're like stand for in this space. Just to, so for me, yes, return to, civility, but also just the danger that these, animals, quote unquote, pose to children. Just I mean, it seems like every other day, I'm seeing a new article pop up about some, shit bowl that, tore apart a kid or, some other dog that, attacked somebody or, just the way that these, animals are just given, free reign and how they're, elevated so high. Like you've used the term, furry Jesus before, which I think that's hilarious. And it is like they elevate these creatures so high to, the detriment of children. And I don't yet have children, but I want children. And I think consciously, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be living in a big city. And, I'm thinking like, okay, if a dog comes at me, what are my options to keep, myself safe, to keep my child safe? Because they're just, a dog can kill a kid and just, shuffle them around to a shelter until, they're put on to some other hapless family.
Just recycle it. And even if the dog is put down, it's the other thing is that, the dog owner just goes out and gets more dangerous dogs. So, so that's
exactly.
The thing is definitely dogs that maul and kill need to be juiced. They need to be deleted 100%. But the thing is, we can't forget about the human element involved there also. So that's the other thing. But yeah, that's the problem is, like I said, it goes back to it's dis-civic that, okay, they worship the creatures, but that they're basically allowed to impose this death cult, which is really what it is, on everyone else, right? Like, the thing is, the First Amendment protects religion, but provided that the practice of it is not, hazardous or lethal to others, like an actual human sacrifice cult would not be protected by the First Amendment. Right, you can't murder people in religious ceremonies. It's a no-no. It doesn't go that far. Just like all our rights, there's some limit to it. So yeah, exactly. But yeah, they elevate these things, and almost to the point where they have these beasts have been granted the right to just destroy our lives, and it's wrong, and it needs to change. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think I do. Can you see the share now? I think I have it.
Well, yeah, it's up now.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
may I interject real quick?
Sure.
To add to the core to the issue, a friend of mine who I converse with quite a bit has a legal background, and we drafted up a letter I want to share with you. I'll email it to you about the civil duties and the civil rights that you're talking about that we should have as a community when it comes to having mutts in it. And he drafted up a letter that, we should start sending around to our local Congress and our state officials or whatever about the problem we have with dogs, and we can work it from there. The other portion of it is that there's no care on the issue because they hopscotch too much. It is an issue that needs to change because when it comes to the dog or the pet or whatever the fuck they want to call it, it's them and it's their family. But when the police come to take it away, it's property. Like, which is it? Like, it's not a pet if it's property. Well, because you've got all these laws to protect it, this free bite bullshit and all this other stuff. It's like, come on, man. It's like you said, it's a deification of this thing, and we all have to deal with it. And it's over.
Yeah. But that was the thing. Anyway, and that's great. Yeah, definitely share that, and we can put it up next time because, that's what it is. It's fundamentally unjust that they do the things they do. I don't know if I shared with either of you two or not, but I found out, much to my dismay, that my next door neighbor recently adopted it looks like a Labradoodle.
Oh, those dogs are the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the thing is, and it's been there, I guess, a couple of months. And what's interesting is I'm not even completely sure that it's their dog or it lives there full time. I've only seen it maybe a half a dozen times, and I've heard it barking very briefly a couple of times. So I'm not really sure what's going on over there. And I actually have like a pretty good relationship with them, but I haven't talked to them about the dog because at least so far, at least to date, I don't have cause to complain about it. But what I really detest about this is, again, these people, the animals themselves and the owners, have been granted a ridiculous amount of protection in the system. So not if, but when that thing becomes like intolerably offensive, it's going to be, I know, and I'm not like too worried about it. Like I posted, like with all these neighborhood dog issues, at least with the neighborhood nutters, I always beat them. Always. 100% of the time. So if they cast the thing into the backyard to bark nonstop, I'm confident I can, cure the problem. But the problem is, though, that it's so difficult to do. Right, there's like endless escalation with animal control and police and code enforcement, and lawyers got to get involved, and there's court hearings and mediations and depositions, all this due process protecting the thing. Right, it doesn't deserve. Where's my protection? But that's the thing. My hope is, I always thought they were kind of sensible people. My hope is that when it does become, and it mature, it's just this cute little fur ball now. But when it matures into, an adult dog, it's going to be like Ms. Mutt just said. It's like Labradoodles are so bad, even most dog people don't like them. That was a joke. Actually, I posted a joke to Dog Free Humor. I said, what's the difference between a pit bull and a Labradoodle? I said, the pit bull will kill you, but the Labradoodle won't, but you'll wish it had because they're so intolerably, annoying. So we'll see what comes out of it. But that's what I resent, though, is that, that not only are they allowed to have these things, but they can just destroy everything around them with impunity, and it's wrong. And if anything, if those things were expressed any other way, it would be handled completely different. So, rant Well, maybe I'll start another rant. But anyway, I wanted to switch. Let's switch back. And now I got the share going. Like I said, the folks watching, this is my first Zoom call. We were discussing earlier about the demise of Skype. And I think because Microsoft owned Skype and Teams. And I guess, yeah, they didn't want to support both pieces of software, so Skype got its plug pulled in May, I think. And it was too bad because it was easy to use, it was very convenient, it was free to use. Now, Zoom is also, but I went ahead and bought the professional version because it gives me more capacity. So in any case, so, kind of bear with me as we go through this. It's after 2 or 3 times, I'll have it all down pat. So, in any case.
Oh, no worries, man.
Yeah. Well, too, is for the folks watching also. So, in any case.
Wait a minute, you're a rookie?
Well, with this stuff, I am.
I'm playing with you. I'm playing.
Well, that's the thing is they're all like with the shares. It's like I thought I was sharing, but I guess I didn't do it right. But in any case, and actually I'm recording this twice. So if one of the recordings goes south, I got to back up because that would really suck if we spend an hour and a half, 2 hours doing this and I don't have useful material. But in any case, yeah. So let's go back to this.
Is that a dog or a boar?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe this. So this dog bar in Tampa.
Oh God! Oh, okay. I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah. So this was a photo I was trying to show before. So this was this dog.
Dude, there's like 5 dogs there.
Yeah. This is the dog bar in Tampa, and like we were discussing,
good God!
But the state health department. It's funny. The state health department said, "Look, you can't have dogs in your bar." You can't,
thank you.
Right? But the thing was, the people were saying, well, if the state shut the bar down. Well, they only did because, again, these people refused to remove the dogs. Because that's what the state said is, like, if you don't get back into compliance with the food hygiene rules, we're going to, yank your permit. And they, refuse to get rid of the dogs. Like, yeah, they'd rather go out of business than say, like, why not just be a bar? Like, why do you have to have dogs in there? But I thought this is kind of a white pill for our side because, yes, dogs are prohibited in any space that sells or serves food, with the exception of service dogs. We know what a cluster F that is. So I thought this was interesting. It's kind of a white pill, so I wanted to share that. The other thing was, oh, sorry, you were going to say something?
Oh no, I was just going to ask: with this article, does it have like a report made up from the health department? Because that might be a good thing to save and send to other health departments. Because I know I've seen multiple dogs in Walmart, Aldi, and I've spoken with some employees there that are like, yeah, we think it's disgusting as well, but we can't say anything or we lose our jobs. But to have something like this, to be like, hey, look, here's a report, these things are disgusting, they have no business being around food.
Well, you don't need that. It's case law right now. The judge closed it down. It's going to be whatever that pub versus.
Yeah, well, it's straight up. Yeah, in the United States, the FDA guidance is that live animals are prohibited in any space that sells or serves food, period. Okay, now, but the thing is, it's not the end of it. There's the service dog loophole. So, that being that there's no like formal qualifications or certification of service dog. So somebody rolls in with a dog and say, service dog, and it does whatever, and they have to let him in. So probably in some cases, they don't even ask because it's like, why bother asking if they can just lie about it, right? But still, if it's a non-service animal, like if it's clear, like if it's pulling on the leash, or I think I'll link in a description because I did a couple of monologues about fake service dogs. Even though there's no hard card ID or anything, there's a lot of tells that indicates that the dog is fake. And you can say, look, the dog is pulling on the leash, it's barking, it's, peeing all over the produce. It's not a legit service dog. It needs to be kicked out. And if you don't kick it out, that's a health code violation straight up throughout the entire United States. So really, that's what needs to be said. I mean, yeah, it's gross and disgusting. I also wanted to cover that. I think, Mr. J, I think I saw that on your channel where the dog was actually hiding inside the produce. I wanted to, let's take a look at that. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. So let's go to YouTube. Then, come on, you can do it. And then we go to I Hate Mutts, and then we'll go to, I think it was a post, right?
And I Hate Dogs took it and got the whole video.
I know the sound is probably, see this woman here in the black tank top, see her reaching into the produce. There's a dog in there. There's a dog hiding inside the shelf there. And I mean, obviously, it's not a service dog. You can also, off camera, there's another dog barking. I don't know what it's barking at, perhaps the other dog. That's not a service dog either. Because, you know, the service dog should be focused 100% on its handler, not barking at other fake service dogs or trying to hide behind the lettuce or whatever. It's interesting as you read a lot of these comments and you know, a lot of people are, you know, trying to excuse it, saying, well, the produce is already dirty. Right? But say, like, so what? Like, that is no reason to bring in dogs to make it worse. It was interesting. I wrote this to my section. We could go through that, but probably all the folks have seen that anyway. There's not really much else to see there. But I put up this community post about it. Where am I? Going to go to my channel and go to posts. And yeah, you know, pursuant to that, you know, the dog nutter apologist insists that these types of behaviors are acceptable, given that the environment is not pristine, right? So it's, okay, well, it's already dirty, so let's bring in dogs to make it way dirtier. Again, that line of thinking never applies to anything else. So I said, let's apply that line of thinking to other things. Like, would it be okay for someone to kill and eat your dog, given that already happens in other places? I mean, it happens all the time, right? Like, what's one dog one way or the other, right? Or if your house isn't clean, would it be acceptable for someone to break in and spread trash everywhere? Of course, one of the commenters pointed out, see, these are rhetorical questions. Like I say, yeah, would this? Of course it wouldn't be. Because first of all, this stuff, as a commenter pointed out, this stuff is illegal. But that's exactly, right? It's illegal and people would take action against it. When you do the same kind of thing with a dog, it's deemed acceptable. That's the problem. So that's the essentially the point I was trying to make. Yeah, these things are illegal, and they should be. And it should be, well, actually, it already is illegal to bring your dog to the store, but nobody does anything about it. They get a pass on the rules. That's the problem.
Yeah, laws, standards aren't applied equally. And also something I just noticed about like that video, like with the dog and the lettuce, that thing doesn't even seem to have a leash a leash on it.
Let me see if I could bring up a better version of that. Dog.
Oh, well, my version, I just kind of spliced the two together, so it just kind of like sped it up.
Yeah,
but the funniest thing about it is that mark my words, you know, there is going to be some kind of incident that's going to come out of that area where a whole lot of people are going to get deathly ill. And they're going to trace it back, because I'm a chef by trade. They're going to trace it back to this moment, to that nasty ass, filthy, flipping dog. And that's when they're going to realize all those people got sick from this incident, because all that food in that area is contaminated, especially deep in the back where it was, where all the freshest stuff is, where someone like me is not going to take it from the front. I'm going to reach in the back.
Yeah, well, you reach in the back, your dog might bite you, though.
Oh, God, I really wish it would.
This, yeah, because, okay, this is so you can say, turn the sound off. But yeah, see, it's like embedded in there. But I'm sure this is a legit service dog, right? It would be ableist to complain about this. To try to pull, does it have
But the other thing you're not noticing, not to cut you off, is this lady kneeling next to it. She's like giving it words of encouragement. And the lady that's pulling it out, she's doing the utmost gentlest care. She's not trying to yank that mutt out. She's like, oh, I don't want to hurt it. Oh, I just want to get it to come out nicely. And that's her husband. He's sitting there laughing the whole time. Like, I'd slap all three of them like the Three Stooges.
Yep. Yeah. You know, it's interesting, too.
Yep.
Normally when people complain about, well, like dogs in stores, it's because, you know, they shake and all the dander comes off, right? So it showers everything with the dander. But this is a lot closer. Like, this would be analogous to, I know this will give some bad visualization, but again, to think about the double standards. Imagine a person walked in there, pulled down their shorts, wiped their ass with a head of lettuce and then put it back on the shelf. Say, oh, hey, it was dirty already, right? I mean, hell, they grow vegetables in dirt. It's all good, right? Wrong. But that's the same. But people see this and they make excuses for it. They think it's cute. They say, oh, the poor dog was just... The dog shouldn't have been there at all. And the thing is, as you can see, it's like, okay, oh, the poor pooch is scared to death. Yeah, maybe don't bring him to the grocery store. Because that's the other thing. Yeah, they deify these creatures, but they don't really care about their well-being that much. Like I always say, nobody abuses dogs worse than dog lovers. So yeah, don't bring your dog to the grocery store. He doesn't want to be there. He's not welcome. He doesn't belong, and he doesn't even want to be there. So leave him at home. Like, enough, you know.
Right? Oh, but no, they have to get attention, and they have to get all the, oh, look at me, this virtuous dog owner. Aren't I just, you know, the greatest?
Yeah.
Because I've, you know, torment this creature. And not that I care that the dogs are tormented, but just you're not a virtuous person.
Well, they're not.
Well, here's something else that's really weird that just popped into my head. When did dogs start getting social anxiety and separation anxiety and stuff like that? Like, now they're starting to incur human emotions. First it's their expressions, now it's their emotions. What they're going to start doing, and they cry. So it's like, damn, they try to do whatever they can to just milk every little bit of sympathy and every maternal and fraternal urge out of everything around them. Yeah. They're just true parasites.
Oh yeah, I mean they do that, but they milk. But it's the dog owner that's. See, the thing is, you look at this. This looks like a border collie. This is really not. It feels like pit bulls aren't pets because they're not. But this really isn't either. This is a farm animal. Okay, its breed purpose is to herd sheep and other farm animals. It wants to be on a farm running all day, not leashed up and dragged around the grocery store. So yeah, it's whining and carrying on and stuff, which is annoying as hell. But it's not even so much they shouldn't go into grocery stores. Most people shouldn't own these things at all because they're not able to meet. They can't meet the needs of the creature, and then stuff like this happens. You know, I put up a post about irresponsible owners a while back, because every time something like this happens, even people who agree that it's a problem, like, well, it's irresponsible owners. It's like, well...
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And you know what? In a past life, not to cut you off real quick, when I used to work at a pet store, I read a stupid dog book cover to cover. So when I used to try to sell dogs to these stupid nutters, I tried to make sure that the dog was going to the right environment.
Yeah, I mean, really if you go back to my next door neighbors for a minute, it's like, yeah, Labradoodle, and because they got a small house. My neighborhood, it's single family homes, and they range, there's about, when it was developed, there's about a half a dozen models that range from about 1,100 to 1,500 square feet, which is kind of unusual for newer homes. Most of the newer homes are over 2,000. So the folks next door, they got one of the smaller ones. They have an 1,100 square foot single family home on about an 8,000 square foot lot, and they get this like spastic disaster. The only dog that can really live in an environment like that is a toy breed. My prior neighbors, not the last ones but the ones before, had a mini dachshund, and that really, it wasn't a problem. You know, I mean, that's like, I mean, it's probably worse than having a cat, but it's at least within, I would consider, the bounds of what's tolerable. Because a dog like that doesn't, you know, even if it's just indoors, the thing weighed like 7 pounds. I mean, it was tiny. But in any case, yeah, like a Labradoodle. That's why I want to, like, but that's irresponsible. Bringing a Labrador, just owning it at all. The same thing with pit bulls. There's no such thing as a responsible pit bull owner. 100% of them are irresponsible, period. Now, you get like a dog like this, yeah, you could probably own a border collie responsibly if you have a farm or some suitable large property, right, for the dog to run around on. It does not belong in, like, pit bulls don't belong anywhere, but dogs like this don't belong in crowded communities. They don't. And that's why there's so many problems with them. They just shouldn't be here. It's not even a question of whether they should go to the grocery store. They shouldn't be in the community at all, period.
Well, I think my next series, I need to go to, I need to go downtown LA. I need to go to like the little ritzy areas because like they have like these high-rise apartment complexes, and you see these people with like 2 pit bulls, a Great Dane, a Saint Bernard. Like you live in a tiny apartment and you pay $3,000 to $5,000 a month. You got this huge mutt. Like where the hell is that thing sleeping? And they're always fighting, and you're always hearing like this aggressive barking and stuff. Like most of the time I'm just in passing, and I don't want to take the videos because I'm like, I don't have the time, but I think I need to start making time because the shit I've seen down there is just chaos. Like I've seen people straight up fighting because their dogs are getting into it. I'm just in awe. Like, you know, like I should be like bringing my camera out, but I'm too busy laughing. It's just so funny.
God.
Oh
yeah.
man, but yeah, on it's saying that the same vein of like dogs not being in environments. Like I said, I've got one client that's got 4 huskies. I don't live in Alaska. I don't live somewhere where it's cold a majority of the year, and even when it is cold, it's not, you know, prime husky dog weather. So it's like you've got these, you know, animals that are designed to live in, you know, cold, frigid climates, you know, in some place where it gets to like 90 degrees.
Yeah, well,
you know,
yeah,
for
huskies are
4 continuous months.
They're Siberian sled dogs. You know, the breed purpose is to pull a sled in snow all day. You know, the Malamutes are similar. They're from, so it's like, and I see huskies. I live in Florida, and I see
I believe
huskies.
you mean tundra dumpsters.
You got to. It takes a special kind of stupid to think that a husky, in a Florida, because it's not just the heat, but it's the exercise requirement. It takes a special kind of stupid to think that a husky in a Florida subdivision is a good idea. I mean,
hold on, folks. We have people that have Malamutes out here in the desert. See, but we have to understand that we're not looking at it from the mind of a nutter. They see it as a cute little puppy.
Yeah.
So they don't care the condition, the weather, all that stuff. The dog can deal with it. We just want this cute little puppy, and it can adapt everywhere.
Right, yeah, like they're just like little like living teddy bears.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they're Transformers.
Yeah.
They're Decepticons all the way through.
All right, because you get a Rottweiler, right? You dress it in pajamas, you spoon feed it whipped cream, and read it Dr. Seuss, and you got yourself a perfect fur baby that can rip your arm off, right?
Right, yeah. It's like, oh, suddenly, you know, Fido tore your face off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oops.
well, it's funny because you read, like, I know, like, I mean, both of you are familiar with, you know, my intense dislike of the, quote, the ADEP, you know, all dogs except pits. But you see that, too, is like they think, oh, yeah, you shouldn't have pit bulls because of the breed background. which is true, but the breed backgrounds of all these other dogs don't matter. It's like, oh yeah, Husky makes a great fur baby pet in a Miami apartment. It's like, bullshit, it does, you know, and they're baby killers too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yep. So,
Well, I'm pretty sure that, you know, the surf bunnies over there in Florida, the coasts are different, but they still got cane corsos, massives, and all these huge dogs, and they barely weigh 100 pounds. So you explained that one, because if you think that thing's going to save you, I think it's going to save your bones for its bowl.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it'll eat half now and half later.
Well, you know, they don't weigh much, so yeah, a snack is all you need.
Oh man, it's crazy. The other thing I wanted to delve into, there was another viral video, and I also posted this to my page, and this was the why can I never bring this up? Yeah, this was left the wasn't here. Oh, this one, yeah, and. This is another really good example of nutters turning on each other. Because remember, it's a supremacy cult. So they think they're way better than people like us. But the thing is, they also try to assert their, you know, supremacy on other dog people. So like the, you know, the ADEP is a good example. The legit service dog people versus the quote fake service dog people. And it was interesting was in this video here, and I was going to get sound here. Now, when I saw this, I found this so entertaining. I was hysterical. Let me stop it. So what's being expressed here is that this is an off-leash dog park in the Portland, Oregon area. And this man was there with his two Rottweilers. And to be fair to her, I'm not sure. We don't know what led up to this because I'm at the beginning here. He may have said something to her or done something earlier to sort of set her off. But I'm going to try to get through this and maybe with sound also, because I found it hysterical for one thing, and but it really shows the entitlement, the elitist attitude that these people have. Let's start here, and hopefully the sound comes through okay. So she's approaching him, and you can read there's a closed caption going too. So let's get started.
You're an unethical piece of shit.
Oh, yeah?
He kills dogs because he has to have his bred dogs.
Me?
Yes! You bought those dogs, didn't you?
Yeah, you bought those dogs. You should be ashamed of yourself buying dogs. Oh, wait, don't all shelters have an adoption fee? I mean, it's kind of a distinction without a difference, right? You bought those dogs, didn't you? You did. You shameful. Okay.
No?
You didn't adopt them. You didn't save their lives. You don't care about them. You don't care about anyone but yourself.
You are crazy.
Yeah, you don't, but she's projecting. You don't care about anybody but yourself. No dog nutter cares about anybody or anything except themselves.
Lady?
Get away from me then. Get away from me.
You walk.
She walks up to him and says, "Get away from me." Hey, you folks still there, or are you just?
Yeah. No, I'm just in disbelief in that. Like I'm trying to love people more and be more gracious and forgiving towards people, but then I see people like this lady, and I'm like, you're making it so hard.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got back when I was a junior programmer, one of my mentors said, he said, always be nice to nice people. Right? If they're not nice, then really the kindness is wasted. And there's a lot to be said for that. You know, personally, it goes back to civic values. I believe in the golden rule: do unto others, treat people the way you want to be treated. Now, I don't always succeed at that, but I try.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what? I'll treat you as well as you treat me, maybe a little better. But somebody like this is not due anything but contempt, really. So let's proceed.
It's up to me.
Go away from me. This guy won't leave me alone. Help me. Help me. This guy.
Help me, help me. I ran up to him and I'm yelling at him. Somebody help me. I'm being assaulted. This is too...
I won't leave you alone. And he is saying that I said something racist when I absolutely did not.
You did.
Please help me. I did not say anything
Who
to
are you,
this guy.
who are
Please
you
get him away
talking
from
to?
me. Help me, please. Please get this guy away from me.
You see, he's backing away. He's retreating, and she's still freaking out, yelling at him.
A doctor,
Dude,
stop. Go away.
you need medication, lady.
You need to get away from me.
Go that way. Go that way.
No, you go.
You want to attack me?
Go.
If you touch me, I will knock you out.
Oh my goodness.
This is too. But the thing is that it's interesting, the take on this, because you read the comments, that seems to be that the consensus is well, they talk about, and it's kind of bigoted. They say, well, this is your typical Portland white left-leaning type, right?
Yeah.
And that's I'm not saying that, but that's what a lot of people are saying. But I'm saying, really, this is dog nutter rage monster behavior. And I've encountered this firsthand. Even, like I said, the guy that was using my lawn as a dog park, whatever it was, a month and a half ago.
Oh yeah. I
This
caught
is the
that
same.
one.
I've encountered this multiple times. You see viral videos too. It's like, remember there was that other one that was a real famous one with the woman with the dog in Central Park, and the dog was running off leash. It was an on leash area. So a man approached her and said, "Look, your dog needs to be on a leash," and she completely flipped out on him in this manner. I call it sort of the apoplectic, foaming at the mouth, rage monster behavior, because that, offended her sensibilities. And their attitude is, if somebody says something as a dog person, if somebody says something or does something that's sort of counter to my dog's first sensibilities, I'm just going to totally unload on that person. I'm going to go completely ape shit. Even though in a lot of these cases the dog person is clearly in the wrong. And I talked about that Central Park case too. I find it interesting because the man involved, he was a black man. So she turned it into a racial incident. She called police, like, a really scary black man is disrespecting Fido. It's like, why do they have to go to those? You're going to see a lot of that in this too. Why do they need to go there? Again, talk about civic values. Just leash the dog and it's all good. Right? But no,
Right.
She didn't do it. She completely flipped out. She turned it into a racial incident. These people are just batshit fucking crazy. But this is not, again, the way they're interpreting this. And maybe some of those elements is like, okay, this is like crazy Portland, the left-leaning white woman kind of behavior. But I see this is dog nutter behavior. So really what's happening is she is freaking out on him for owning the wrong dog, according to her, right? Because she saw him with a Rottweiler. Now, the other thing too is, every shelter dog is not a pit bull. Like, you can get golden retrievers and purebred labs, Rottweilers from shelters and rescues. It happens. So, they could have been shelter dogs, but she just assumed that he bought them from a breeder. So, yeah, let's... you guys have any thoughts on that before we dive deeper into this?
I mean, just like when they, I don't know, like when these people bring in race and such into it, like, I mean, like, that's clearly like that says so much about them.
Yep.
Than it does about the person. It's just like, okay, so you clearly have some kind of racial issue. You clearly have these bigoted beliefs that you're, for whatever reason in this scenario you feel comfortable expressing those.
Yep.
So that just says to me, like, okay, that's already a you issue, and your insane dog nutter mind, it just exacerbates that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's, yeah, I mean, like, but it just, like, the audacity
Yeah, the
of
audacity.
these people to just come up to somebody, like, minding their own damn business and, you know, yell, like this lady, like, yelling and screaming, making this huge scene about, it's like, can you not just turn around and walk the other way? You know, maybe mutter something to yourself, like,
Yeah.
why do you feel this need to be so antagonistic and so just vile?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess her, her status as, it's not just a dog owner, because this is another case, I think, of one dog person or one, segment of the dog owning population believing that they're superior to the rest of them. That's what's being expressed here, because that's, what's going to happen is, they're going to express their, supremacy, ideals, in situations like that. She's making a lot of big, so first of all, buying a dog from a breeder is not illegal. Some people don't like it, but it's not illegal. And she's making a big assumption because just because he has a purebred Rottweiler, he could have gotten it from a breeder. But I guess she saw that. We'll get deeper into this because you get more into her mindset as this continues. So
You attack me, I have a right to defend myself.
Okay, listen. Let's.
this is exactly what the nutter that was like from about 6 weeks ago was doing when I got in his face and I said, look, you're breaking the law. You and your dog need to leave my property. So rather than just do it, what does he do? Well, he whips out his phone and starts recording. I'm like, what are you recording? It's like, fine, record it. You're breaking the law, you're trespassing, and you're giving me a ration of shit in my own space. There, did you get all that? Send me a copy, asshole.
Let's do this, buddy. Get away from me.
Look at, she's following him and saying, get away from me. She's
It's dog personality. It's being a human dog. She's barking. She's trying to get attention. She's calling other nutters to arms. Now she's being aggressive and barking towards him, trying to get him to back away. He's backing away, but you're still aggressively trying to push him away. It's like, come on, lady.
Yep.
Like, I'd have stood my ground and be like, look, lady, one more step, you walk up on me, dude, I'm laying you out. And she just would have got laid out.
Well, yeah, you're right. And that's a good insight because she is acting like a dog. She's like, yeah, she is acting like a dog because she's not standing her ground. She's pursuing him. She's behaving aggressively, really for no reason, and pursuing him. And yeah, in the animal kingdom, really no other animal acts like that.
Now, this guy is harassing me.
I have lots of film, lady.
I did not say anything racist at all.
Go away from me, lady.
Go away from me. Go away. Go away. I'm trying to get by. And this guy won't let me by.
Go by.
I'm trying to get by.
Go by. I have I have everything you said before. I have it all on video, lady.
I have it all on video, too.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You need to go away. I let you by.
Go
Go.
away, too. You need to adopt those shop. Look at this guy. Look at his bred dogs. Look at what an unethical piece of shit this guy
That's
is.
his mom.
He has to have bred dogs because he has a small
Oh,
penis.
it's not a mom.
Then talk about the the line. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, he's got to have purebred dogs because he has a small penis. Why did he whip it out and show it to her? Again, she's making all these, assumptions about him that, may or may not be true. Wait, this goes on, it gets good too.
He has no freaking...
Isn't this lady amazing?
No integrity.
You are mentally ill. You are mentally ill,
And
lady.
no fucking ethics at all whatsoever.
You are mentally ill.
Be a Trump supporter.
Uh-oh, she's accused him of being a Trump. Now there's fighting words. Like
Oh man, can I place my bets? Does she also call him a Oh man, I'm probably not allowed to say this on YouTube. A Yahtzee.
Yeah. I don't know if she like accused him of being like a Hitlerite or some kind of fascist, but she's like, "You're a Trump supporter." It's like, how do you get to that from like walking your dog in a park? But what she's doing is she's just throwing the kitchen sink at him. You're racist.
Wait. I want to throw in my bed for a jerk.
You're racist. You're harassing me. You have undersized genitalia, etc. So she's just throwing everything she can at him.
You are mentally ill.
Where's Ice?
You are.
So now she's like talking about how she wants to get so what is he, like an illegal immigrant too? Like, why would ICE take an interest in this? Like, does he have a deportation order? Now she's like, yeah, where's ICE?
Mentally ill.
Supporter.
Wow.
No, she's trying to trigger it.
Let me call Ice.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm done with you. Have fun.
Get him to react so she can play the victim.
Yeah. What's funny was I remember back when I was blogging, and I would get attacked, quite a bit. I mean, online. And I had at least one nutter threaten to, well, actually they said no. I said, like, you've been reported to CIA. Like, CIA? I mean, do these people even know what CIA is or what it does? Do they really think they would take, I really doubt they would take an interest, but they just sort of throw the kitchen sink. You've been reported to the CIA. It's like, actually, CIA doesn't even have jurisdiction to act within or do certain things even within U.S. borders. At least I don't think so. But it's like CIA, like, I don't know, you call, like, I don't know, Interpol or the Coast Guard. He's like, where's ICE? Yeah, somebody call ICE. We got an illegal immigrant here.
Your psycho ward. Go take your medication today. This is amazing.
Yes. Please put that on the internet.
I am.
Please do.
I am.
Do not purchase animals. Please support your.
Yeah, she says, well, she makes a Freudian slip. She's like, don't purchase animals. Buy from a shelter instead. But again, that's a distinction without much of a difference. Like, you still got to pay an adoption fee at the shelter, typically. But
right, and I it's been a while since I've taken, a high school English class, but I'm pretty sure buy and purchase are synonyms for one another.
Your local animal shelters.
This is amazing.
Don't shop.
This is amazing.
Yes, it is.
I always see these Karen videos, and I never thought I'd get a good one myself.
Yeah, I never thought I'd get a good one myself.
Thank you so much for letting me support animals. Thank you for letting me say that it is unethical to buy animals.
Watch out, crazy Karen coming. I know, this lady's freaking crazy. Thank you. She just screamed at some dude randomly, didn't me, then called me racist because I was saying...
Do not put words in my mouth.
This lady's freaking nuts, man. Watch out for her.
Like, this goes on and on. Like, she's just continuing to rage. But like I said, yeah, this is very typical dog nutter, rage monster behavior. It's just that, interestingly, this time it wasn't somebody calling her out, well, usually for breaking some kind of dog law. She just, I guess, saw him with his Rottweiler and made a bunch of assumptions, and it just pushed her off the deep end.
She's freaking
Liar! He is a liar! He is calling me racist for no reason.
No, you called me racist. Dude, that other guy, I have it all on film. The other guy saw it too.
See, that's the other problem with dog parks, is that not only are they full of dogs, but they're full of dog people like this.
Look how you're behaving. You're not a little child. Act like an adult, lady. You are literally crazy.
Take your unethical fucking dog.
And I'm going to interject. I lived quite a bit in areas in the Pacific Northwest, and that's not a flipping dog park. That's one of those, I I forgot what they're called, but they're a nature trail. And they usually go down into a valley, and they usually lead to some water. And they're usually in the woods. And those aren't dog parks. People use them as dog parks. I used to ride my bike through there. I used to go there and take a little sabbatical and puff because we couldn't puff in the house we were at. So we would go in the nature trail there, and that's where all the stoners would go and smoke, as on those. And people's dogs would always be running off leash because as soon as they could walk past the park area where the children were, they would just unleash their dogs, let their dogs just run off the trail, chasing rabbits and whatever else they wanted to chase, just to have fun. And then they would have to try to retrieve their dogs or call their dogs back because they're walking up and down the trail. Because you notice that's a trail. That's not a dog park.
Well, it's a trail, I guess, or it's a dog park. Maybe, it's not. I mean, my understanding was that the property, maybe it's not a dog park per se, but does allow dogs and even
dogs, but they're supposed to be on leash. They're not supposed to be unleashed. But it's a general rule. Nutters don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But one thing you notice, too, is if you look at, see, like, how, like, I mean, there's a lot of, lush trees here, but as if you watch this, one thing, just look in the background is that the walking area itself, and for quite a distance on either side, it's completely dead. It's just dirt. And I think it's from dogs pissing all over everything, right? Basically destroyed a swath of greenery. Sorry, you were going to say something?
Oh no, I was just sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Just agreeing with you. Like, that they're, people letting their dogs, run around. They, pee and poo everywhere, and destroy the wildlife. With their barking and running around. Causing animals to not, get stressed out and be scared. So then they're not able to do their things. The natural animals that actually live there.
Yeah.
But
well, look at the other thing. Notice the poop bags in anybody's hands.
Yeah, I don't see them.
They're not picking up after. You don't see no scoops. You don't see nothing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if the dog.
Oh well, no, but they're outside. Why would they need to do that if they're outside?
That's fertilizer, right? Doesn't that make things better?
Yeah, as the turds dry into Hot Wheels cars and balls of fur and little creatures they've eaten along the way that didn't digest.
Yeah, but you can see, because I hike a lot, but you can see that this trail is basically befouled. And it's got to be from dog waste, because normally it's like a footpath, unless it's gravel or something, but this is just bare dirt. So you've got this swath of bare dirt going through this place. And you can see it in other parts of the video too. It's like, basically the ground is ruined by these dogs. So let's proceed, because there's something else comes up too.
You are literally crazy.
Take your unethical fucking dog to get out of here. A dog don't shop.
Aw, poor Fido's hurt. I'm not unethical. I'm just a sweet little fur baby.
It's unethical to purchase dogs. It's unethical to breed dogs. It is unethical to breed dogs.
Well, the thing is, if nobody bred dogs, in 10 years or 15 years, they'd be extinct. So maybe she's right about that. That sounds like a plan.
Don't shop.
I mean, no more dog breeders. I'm for that.
For every dog.
Finally, we have something to agree with the dog nutters.
Hey, listen to this.
It's unethical to breed dogs. A dog don't shop. For every dog you buy, a shelter dog dies.
Now that sounds like a chant. Everybody join in. For every dog you buy, a shelter dog dies. For every dog you buy, a shelter dog dies.
Is she running after him?
She's I mean, I don't know. She might not be fit enough to actually run, but
okay. She's expediently walking.
She's been pursuing him the entire time. I mean,
oh my god, dog personality.
This is straight up.
She's a chihuahua.
Yeah, this is straight up stalking and harassment.
Oh yeah, and
You
that's
know,
why he's recording it, because what she would do is flip it around and say he was doing it to her.
yep. Oh yeah, yeah.
For every dog
Please, she's harassing me.
dies.
You're crazy.
For every dog you buy, a shelter dog dies. Every dog you buy, a shelter dog dies. Look, he killed 2.
Okay, yeah, that I thought that was interesting, and that's an exhibit. These are the kind of people we're dealing with when we say, okay, we don't want dogs in grocery stores, or dogs shouldn't kill kids. This is the kind of, or the inside of my home should not sound like a dog kennel at feeding time due to like neighbors' dogs. That's the kind of reaction we get, and it shows, like, again, the kind of people we're dealing with. But like I said, it goes back to the dog cult, even going back to, civics. Well, if you go back, like, what she's complaining about is, like, okay, if you buy a dog from a breeder, that leaves another dog in the shelter to, get put down or just live in a cage forever if it's a no-kill arrangement. But the thing is, she doesn't get that, like, there's no demand side solution to dog overpopulation. It's from my perspective, it's strictly a supply side issue. So, if I could communicate with her, I would say, look, if you save the rage monster routine for the people that are breeding those things, like I said, okay, yeah, I know your shelter, it's overflowing with pit bulls that nobody wants, and more dogs keep coming in, they live in misery, almost all of them wind up getting put down anyway. But the thing is, rather than attack somebody like this, what you would do is say, okay, we need to crack down on these, again, irresponsible dog owners, people who don't spay neuter, backyard breeders, people selling puppies at the the parking lot at Walmart. That's who you should be going after. That's the reason we have the people like that are the reason we have a shelter overcrowding problem. Not necessarily the dude with the, I don't mean to stand up for a dog person, but the dude with the purebred Rottweiler isn't necessarily contributing to the shelter overpopulation problem. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. But I think it's like also like not just the backyard breeders, and they absolutely are a problem. But also just the people are just so uneducated when it comes to dogs.
Yeah.
Like they don't, not like, just never mind like the not, having the right environment for them, not, having huskies in Florida and whatnot. But also like just like their behavior and not training them and just, letting them, do whatever they want, behave however, they're just naturally inclined to behave, which is just gluttonous, aggravated,
violent,
just
noisy.
Yeah, violent. Yeah, all of those. Like they have no idea how to, get the dog out of the dog. Like, because that's because if you're going to have a quote unquote good dog, you have to train it not to act like a dog.
That's what's sort of ironic about this whole scenario is that, well, dogs are sold as being, they're man's best friend, right? They're these totally carefree best friends that'll always, it's going to love you, unconditionally. But the thing is, and I actually did a whole monologue on it, like, even if you say, they don't love the same way we do, certainly. But even if we concede that, okay, perhaps the dog has some crude affection for the owner, it's not unconditional because, a dog is a very, very high maintenance pet. And what's really ironic is that to make it tolerable, you have to train the dog out of the dog. meaning that, inherently, yeah, dogs suck. The only way to make them not suck is to train them to death, and even that doesn't work most of the time.
Right, yeah, like that, yeah. Just they're so uneducated about, how dogs are, and then, after a while they're like, oh man, this thing's a piece of shit. It ruins all my stuff, it poos and pees in my house. It's, I hate this thing. And
well, that's
then they're like, okay, well, just take it to a shelter, because I don't want it anymore. Instead of doing the research, like, oh, what do you have to do to make a dog suck less? Oh, I can't really do that much. Okay, maybe I'll get the turtle or something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I'm sure that's what happened with my next door neighbors. That's really disappointing, but I'm sure they thought, oh, what a cute puppy, what a cute, sweet puppy. And again, they brought it home, and some of you realize, I'm sure that, because it's a married couple with 2 young kids. I think they're 5 and 7, the children are. And I'm sure the children are under a ton of social pressure to get a dog. The parents are under a ton of social pressure to get a dog. The kids are pressuring the parents to get a dog. And it's difficult to resist, particularly because, these things are sold as being, these totally carefree best friends. And I'm sure they didn't do them like a fucking Labradoodle. Like, are you kidding me? Because, yeah, and they're going to realize probably in the next 6 months or so that this thing is intolerably offensive. They could, try to train it. The only way it's going to work out is if they just train it to death. But you got to realize, too, is these people, they're very low energy. They don't do much. They don't even mow their own lawn. They have a lawn service, mow their lawn, their small lawn. They don't really do anything outside. They're very low energy, indoorsy types. They can't manage a dog like that. They can't. Like I said, maybe a toy dog, like a toy poodle or a mini dachshund, maybe. I'm not saying that's a good idea, but that it might work in theory. But this thing, I'm like, you fucking dumbasses. Because it's going to be, and I'm just hoping that, well, like you said, that when the realization comes that it's not, that the situation has failed, okay, that they do the right thing and, yeah, just rehome it, just get rid of it, instead of, like, maybe just banish it to the backyard to bark all the time. Because if that happens, again, our homes that's going to noise pollute my entire house. I'm gonna have to, probably if I want to sleep, I'm going to have to, literally, I'm not going to be able to stay here. And I'm not going to allow that. That's going to escalate. Okay?
Right, yeah, and you shouldn't be, bullied and harassed out of your own home because of some stupid dog.
But I'm hoping that they come to the realization on their own that they screwed up, that they were lied to, they were basically scammed, and to fix the problem instead of forcing me or perhaps even like one of the other neighbors to escalate. And that's what gets me too, is like they know, because I've shared on here even some of the situations I've had recently. Like I've gone, I've gone to the mattresses, so to speak. That's from The Godfather. With these dog people, I've done it, not just me, but other neighbors, over and over and over again. I win every time. They know this. They know. Do they think I'm going to give them a pass when I didn't give any of these other dog nutters a pass? Is that what they're thinking? Because they're thinking wrong. Like, I mean, even though so far I get along with them, but I don't value the relationship enough that, I'm going to allow them to bark me out of my house. That's not going to happen.
No, good for you. And you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't.
And that's what happens. You read a lot of these things. It's like, well, yeah, my neighbor's dog is driving me crazy, but I don't want to, like, ruin the relationship or the friendship or whatever. And I say, look, dummy, friends don't do stuff like that. They don't. Like, they would, if they're noise polluting you, at least the way you say they are, that's not your friend. Or what do they used to say? If you have friends like that, you don't need enemies.
Yeah.
Whatever relations, well, but then it's the trade-offs. You got to value. It's like, okay, do I want to sleep in my own home on one hand, or do I want to maintain this relationship, which, what are you, like lifelong best friends or something? And that's the other thing is, neighbors are transient, particularly around here. Most people are, I've lived in this block for 15 years. Most people way less than that. So let's say I totally piss them off. And I just let them be. If that's the case, I'm really hoping everybody, if you're religious, like, pray for me, or at least keep your fingers crossed, that they come to the realization that they screwed up and they get rid of the dog. Best case out, at this point, best case outcome. But,
Yeah.
And
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I finished what you were going to say. I just,
yeah, but that's the thing is, well, I guess the thing was, like I said, it's transient. So let's say, okay, I've just created more enemies. Well, first of all, if they're going to do that to me, they're already an enemy, number one. And number two, they're probably going to move on. I don't know how far back in my material you go, but yeah, I got woke to this issue when the across the street neighbor, a prior neighbor actually, had almost barked me out of the house. And at the time, again, I was not woke to this issue. I was totally unprepared for what happened. But yeah, so I, finally escalated. I threatened a lawsuit, and that's what solved the problem. I just said, look, you're going to silence your dog, or I'm going to see you in court. And that did it. But the thing is that, of course, well, the thing is, he already hated my guts. Like, I don't want to be friends with people like that. Fine, too, as many of these people have criminal backgrounds, like they did. And which means you don't need the police in here, but in any case, they moved on. And talk about, like, relief. That was weird with them is, they had the first set of barking dogs, threatened to sue them. They got rid of the dogs, and it was peace for about a year. And then what do? They get another dog, and that becomes a nuisance. So then that had to escalate. And I think it goes back to what I'm talking about with all the unfair, well, with the supremacist attitude these people have, and all the special protections and consideration they get. I resent that really any of us even have to worry about this stuff. Right? Like the neighbor getting, because like I said, when the dog next door becomes a nuisance, I know it's a problem I can solve, but it's not going to be easy. Right? It's going to be a long, drawn out, tough slog, and it shouldn't be. You know what? Because I'm going to say again for the record, owning any pet is a luxury and a privilege, period. Any pet is a guest in the community. It has no right to be here at all. It's merely tolerated. And if the pet creates discomfort for anybody, it's gone. Right? It should be gone. Maybe in our magnanimity, we'll give them a couple of chances. But, like, you know what? Third complaint or third incident, boom, out and say gone. Done. I should not have to pursue them through the court system for 4 months like I did that other time. Like, enough.
Right, because it's your time and your effort and your money shouldn't have to be wasted.
Yep.
Doing all of this because some jerk decided to bring this loud, destructive mutant into their house.
Yep.
It's like, you know what? You're the one that decided to have it. Either you keep it and have it just bother you, or don't have it at all. Yep,
exactly. 100%. Because you know what? If they kept, because really that's the problem is it's they externalize the downsides of having these things. Like if the bad behavior, to a point. The bad behavior of dogs only impacted dog owners. I wouldn't have an interest. The only exception is when there's children in the home, like when these kids get killed, for example. That's where that. But you know what? Those fucking people belong in prison, and that's the other thing. Like, even a lot of people in our space disagree with me on this, but like the Bernards, that was a couple that where the dogs killed both kids. They belong in prison. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you know what? If that had been, I use a juxtaposition. I pointed out there was a case where the pet snake killed a kid. Boom, both parents, both of them, 12 years in prison. They got sentenced. They didn't get no parole, no nothing. Just boom, gone. Right?
Good.
But the thing is, that's what I talk about. Dogs have all kinds of special treatment. If it's a dog, it's a completely different set of considerations. Why? Yeah, people know that at least perhaps not all snakes, but at least some snakes can kill. But so can dogs. What, nobody had been killed by a dog before? Those fucking people knew about the risks, and they chose to pursue it anyway, right?
Right.
Actually,
They knowingly put their children in a dangerous situation, and those kids, those, innocent little kids, had their lives taken from them all too soon because of your stupid ass decision. Like,
Yep.
yes, you should absolutely be held liable as if you were the one who ripped them apart yourself, because
Yep.
essentially that is what you did by allowing something like that in your home.
Yeah.
And just like one little, like going back to the Labradoodle thing. So I have a family member that's got one of those things, and it's, a big dog. I think it's like 5 or 6 years old. Well, I have a little niece who's 3 years old. She, cute, sweet little kid. And she came up, we were all up together for a family get together, and that dog's, coming up to her. And she's, like, her first reaction is to, like, bundle herself up, hold her little hands to her face and, like, cover herself. And, like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, she is clearly terrified. So anytime I saw that dog coming by here, I'd go over and I'd pick her up, because I'm like, apparently everybody else in this house is too freaking blind to see that dog terrifies her.
Yep.
And like her parents are both like, oh, this is a nice dog. Like, it doesn't matter. She's scared. She doesn't want to be around the dog. Don't force her to be around that thing.
Yep. Yeah, there's no reason she needs to be either. Like, but yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that.
Nothing makes my blood boil more.
Jeez, yeah, but yeah, that's the thing is. But going back to civic values is, this whole arrangement is very, like I said, it's dis-civic, it's undemocratic, it's unjust, and I'd like to restore some equity here, because it's what they're allowed to get away with things that, like I said, if it were expressed any other way, well, it's already illegal as hell. It would be handled completely differently. It's unfortunate. Actually, talking about that, last time, I guess when Huntress was on the call, we were talking about, well, it was a berserking police dog, where it was at a funeral for a police officer that had been shot dead.
Yeah.
And the dog got out and just attacked 3 random people. What was interesting was it was just a few days after that. Let me see if I can find this. A police dog killed a kid. It was actually, I think it was the handler's child. Police dog kills child. Yeah, it was this, of Colorado police chief. Yeah. 3-year-old girl, the daughter of Burlington, Colorado police chief, was killed after being attacked by a former narcotics police dog named Draco at the family's home on or around August 12th. The retired canine was a German Shepherd, previously with the Canine County Sheriff's Office, was not on active duty. Well, yeah, Rover probably thought the kid was dealing drugs. That's... What else?
Clearly, those 3-year-old drug dealers are a real rampant problem, and honestly, they need to be cracked down on.
They're very, very threatening. Well, here is the dog was euthanized after the incident, which is being investigated as a tragic event, not a criminal matter. But this was just a few days after Well, I mean, and I've done a lot of due diligence, a lot of deep dives into police dogs, and police dogs just. I mean, a lot of it superficially, people say, well, it's a violation of, Fourth, Fifth, and Eighth Amendment protections, which they are. But it's very common for these things to just attack random people. Like, the dog's not on duty. It's not pursuing a suspect. It just attacks whoever. And that's a known problem. So he brought this thing into the home and it killed. But this is being treated like the Bernard thing. It's like, oh, that poor family. I'm like, you know what? Fuck that guy. He should go to prison. Totally. Yeah, no, that poor family. That poor kid. That poor little 3-year-old girl that had to die in that horrific way because you have your head up a dog's ass and can't see it for what it really is. Yep. And also a dog has no concept of what on duty or off duty is. It is a killing machine. Yeah. It kills and it serves its own purpose. Period. End of story. Right. Well, it's too dumb. It doesn't. People. What's the thing is I think discrediting police dogs. I think would be a huge propaganda win for our side because these things are used to, it's really as a part of the whole mutt matrix circular reasoning propaganda loop. They say dogs are amazing. Well, how so? Well, because dogs are used in police work. Well, why are dogs used in police work? Well, because dogs are amazing, right? It's not because do they understand the law? No. Do they understand police procedure? No. Can they properly evaluate a threat? No. But yet they're used in these situations.
No, but don't forget that they know how to choose a good person or a bad person because a baby is a bad person and dogs know babies are bad persons, so that's why they kill them.
Yeah, right. Well, I
love that argument so much because whenever I see that on the internet, I just post a bunch of pictures of, the mustache man with his dogs. And it's just like, oh, he must have been a great person.
I guess so. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is it's interesting because, some of the worst people, like some of the most infamous criminals, were dog people. And their dogs.
Oh, yeah. Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Moar murderers,
Hitler.
Yeah.
Hitler. Stalin was a dog person also. They say,
Mussolini.
But they say, it's interesting, a lot of times people bring Hitler into the conversation. Often that's seen as a logical fail, right? So they'll accuse us of being Nazis because we don't like dogs. But really that's stupid. How do you get from that to, I don't know, invading Russia in the winter? It's just retarded. But the thing is, as you pointed out, Ms. Mutt, is that's a good retort because we're not comparing them to Hitler. What we're doing is we're pointing out, or we're basically demolishing the notion that dogs are a good judge of human character. Because, if they were, why didn't Hitler's dogs just maul them to death and save us? It would have saved us a lot of people, a lot of trouble. But they don't,
think of the innocent lives.
They don't. I mean, I'm sure his dogs, he treated them well and they liked him. That's it. They didn't understand his politics or anything like that.
No, he fed them, and that was all that they cared about. They're like, oh, I get food from this one, so therefore, give me more food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he loved them right till he shot them too.
Yep. Well, I think he tested, right before the bunker was invaded, I think he wasn't sure if the cyanide pills would work. And I think he gave one of them to one of the dogs to test it. He's like, now it works. So I think, he took a pill. He shot himself. Took a pill and shot himself. I don't know if he shot the dogs too, but...
they said both of them were dead, so...
Yeah, I think he poisoned them because he really wanted to test the pill. So, I guess because they didn't want the Russians getting a hold of the dogs. Although, you know what? Stalin was a big dog person too. Maybe the dogs would have just moved in with him after the war. Who knows? But, it's always... But see, that's where they get this thing. If a dog... Like, let's say, yeah, you're in, you're cleaning a house and a dog tries to attack you. They'll say, well, that's because he knew you didn't like him, right? He knew that you don't like dogs, or like at least that dog specifically. That's why. They don't know that. And even if they do, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not an excuse to attack somebody. Like, if I say, I think that guy over there doesn't like me. Yeah, I'm going to go, like, rip his face off. Does that sound like a plan?
Right, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I
If
mean,
you
we're
extend
not
that
allowed to
logic-
self-police.
Sorry, say that again?
Oh, my fault. I said we're not allowed to self-police. That's why.
Yeah, we're not. Well, dogs are, though. I mean, according to them. That's a point, going back to that post I made, some of the comments. It's like, they say, yeah, well, breaking into somebody's house and spreading trash everywhere is illegal. I'm like, well, yeah, indeed, exactly, as it should be. But a dog doing the same thing is acceptable somehow. So, that's the point I was trying to make. Fun stuff. Was there anything else? Yeah, because I did want to talk about, so now we actually have the case. Well, they're going to say, well, the police dog, it wasn't no longer, it was retired. It was retired. I guess it was it? Yeah, which it previously was not on active duty. Yeah, not a criminal matter. Well, it's not a criminal matter because anything done with a dog, because that's what they'll say too. It's like, well, killing people is fine as long as you use a dog. It's like, no, it isn't. It might be technically legal, but it's wrong. I mean, plenty of things, used to. I don't know if you're familiar with the, you hear the euphemism, the rule of thumb. Is it used as like an it's used as a metaphor, as an approximation.
I know exactly where you're going.
Most people don't know the origin of that statement, because it used to be a legal rule. And the rule was you could beat your spouse. Well, typically it was a man. So a man could beat his wife with a stick, provided the stick was not thicker than his thumb. That was the actual, like, public policy at the time. But you're thinking, okay, that's the law, but was it right? No. I mean, and nobody would think that's a good idea. But today, but that's the kind of thing they say, and that's one area here needs to get cleaned up. It's like, okay, just because the bad behavior was expressed by a dog or with a dog or in the name of dog does not make it, it's unethical. And even though it might be technically legal in some cases, it should not be. That's what needs to change.
Well, yeah, and also like that. So a gun is a weapon. A knife is a weapon. But also, according to the law, if you hit someone with your car, that is considered assault with a deadly weapon. They then consider your vehicle a deadly weapon because you used that in order to harm somebody. So why is that same standard not applied to dogs? Assault with a lethal weapon.
Yeah, particularly because they get these dogs. I mean, you look at these police dogs. They're used to, well, this was a sniffer dog, but they're used to, pursue and take down suspects. Yeah, it's a weapon. And people get these dogs, they get the Rottweiler for protection, which means that, yes, that is explicitly a weapon. It's a weapon. And yeah, you're right, it should be treated like any other weapon, but it isn't. I mean, even the thing is, if you treated dogs like we treated any other weapon, like guns or knives even, yeah, even just the threatening behavior would be criminal. Forget about sending somebody to the morgue, right? If the dog, like that video I put up a few months ago, with that hiking video where I was being charged. Now the dog didn't bite me, but actually that doesn't matter because if a person had done that, that would be an assault. Because assault and the battery is when they actually touch you or hit you or strike you. The assault is what leads up to it. It's a behaving dangerously. But imagine if they criminalized that. Owning a dog would be impossible. Oh, you can own any dog you want, but yeah, it does that, boom, gone. It'd be like 98% of dogs would be removed from society. And it's a way to do it. You know, it's like, yeah, own any dog you want, as many dogs as you want.
Well, also, I want to elaborate on that point. If a police officer retires and is still able to carry a service weapon because the type of job that they had, and they have to have a weapon, and we can all attest that most dogs are quote unquote a weapon, then when they're retired, they don't know the difference between, just like you said, they don't know if they're off duty, on duty. To them, it's just always a job to them. So maybe you should put them out of society where they should be. So maybe have like a farm of them and camp their asses out there, because obviously they're never going to be readjusted to normal public life because they're used to the thrill of getting that endorphin of running around and biting people.
Yeah,
And if you're not telling it to do it, it's got a brain of its own. It's going to do it itself.
Yeah, it's going to do itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they should be removed from society, and well, actually, really, they shouldn't exist at all. I think that police dogs have basically outlived their bite. If they were ever useful to begin with, they've outlived their usefulness. They need to go. I don't think there's like no case where one of these things, they're not reliable. Again, even with
unpredictable.
Even with a sniffer dog, I put that. It was in one of my monologues, but there was a Supreme Court case, Florida v. Harris, last decade, and evidence was submitted to the court indicating that 80% of police dog sniffs were wrong. 80% were wrong on average. False positives and false negatives. Because I know, like, too, as people argue, there's a trade-off to be made, right? If we're crafting public policy, there's a trade-off to be made between, you've got public safety on one hand and civil rights on the other hand. So maybe you have to infringe one or the other a little bit, infringe one to enhance the other, and vice versa. But the thing is, these police dogs are not a trade-off. They're a civil rights disaster, and they also do not promote public safety, because a lot of these sniffs were actually false negatives. So what are the implications? So that's where you have a perp gets off the hook, right? Say somebody carrying a bomb onto an airplane. The sniff fails, they proceed, and boom. That's just a hypothetical example, but that's unacceptable. So it fails because it fails both of those things. Like they're an epic disaster, but people use confirmation bias. Say, oh yeah, Rover took down he took down a serial killer. Yeah, he took down a serial killer, but he also let 5 rapists off the hook, tore up a Girl Scout selling cookies, and deleted a guy delivering pizza. So how do you reconcile all that?
Well, I mean, it's like I've said before, anything you defeat through its stomach is not very useful to me. So if that bomb-sniffing dog happens to smell a salami slice, then it's really not going to be, checking for that bomb.
Yeah.
If that Girl Scout cookie, girl was selling, if the Girl Scout was selling the cookies and the box happened to be open, the dog could smell the cookies. Well, her ass is in jeopardy too. So, you have to look at each one of those scenarios. Like, did they have food with them? Well, then you're going to be more of a target then.
Yeah. It's
right.
We should not be using animals for these things. Horses are now zoned out farm animals, and I think it's time for dogs to be also. Because, as soon as, mechanized transport became, widespread, that's what happened. Horses became, maybe still a couple of niche use cases for them, but, pet horses at least, again, are zoned out farm animals. Because as people come into the space, they start bashing some other animal. I know, cat bashing is very popular, but I see a lot of horse bashing. I'm like, okay, do you have a horse problem? in your downtown apartment tower? Like, or did you get whinnied out of your house? Like, what's the issue, really? You know?
Right? Did a cat, maul your mother to death?
Yeah, exactly. Or did you get meowed out of your house? Was that what happened? What's the other point I made?
Oh, no. Keep forgetting that, babies still babies. Babies' breath are stolen by cats.
Yeah. Not that these other animals are perfect, but even you talk talk about like all the special consideration dogs get. I mean, I say it again, I keep saying it over and over, but it's worth repeating. All that other stuff is restricted, even cats. The biggest cat you can own without a big pile of special permits is about 20 pounds. But you can own like a backyard full of XL bullies, like no questions asked. 150 pounds each. Like, how do you square that circle? Or how is that, like I said, congruent with civic values or reasonable or just in any way? It's not. Now, I'm not saying that these other creatures should be given more protections, just the dogs should have less. That's the point I make. So
right.
Well,
yeah, I would never advocate like, oh yeah, people should be able to own just because I like cats. Oh yeah, people should own like tigers and lions. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, I've said it before, and a lot of people are starting to say it even more. I'm probably not the one who coined the phrase, but I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. Well, we're about 2 hours. Now, again, we're coming up on 2 hours. So, yeah, I kind of needed to. Actually, this day worked better because I know initially this was scheduled for yesterday, but I guess there was some conflicts. And actually, it turns out today was better for me also because it was after I scheduled it. I realized I had an appointment, or remembered, early Saturday afternoon, so I probably only would have been able to be on for maybe an hour yesterday. The other thing is, for folks listening, some people think these are live. They're not. They're pre-recorded. I'm also getting, this is a first call on Zoom, so I'm hoping it's not a complete disaster. I'll try. I'm actually making 2 recordings of it, so hopefully one of them will be usable. It's interesting, last week, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, and that call we did because Huntress joined. I think it was just the two of us, and we did the call on Discord. So Ms. Mutt, if you want to friend me on Discord, you can do that. I know Mr. J and I. Well, here's what we did: we did the call on Discord. And I recorded it in OBS Studio, but if you notice, like if you look at this, I'll bring it up. You can see like on the bottom here, this audio input capture. What happened was I had the desktop audio was set too high. So, and for some reason that comes in a lot louder. Like, again, talking about equity, there's no equity there. So I had the desktop audio was cranked too high. So she was way louder than I was. Not her fault. It was totally my fault. We'd actually done a test recording, and initially I had it set too low. So I said, all right, let me crank up the gain on your end, and then we'll just get started. But I cranked it up too much. It was like way loud. And I was like, oh, shit, damn it, So, but what I did was I split off the audio track, and I ran it through. I did some research. It's a command line program called FFmpeg. I know it's FF like fuck Fido, but in any case, it's a command line utility, and it's very cryptic, but what it does is it allows you to essentially clean up or filter the audio so you can boost the low end and reduce the upper end. So I sat around, I ran it through because I had to, tweak the settings. It's a command line utility. So you give it input file, output file, and then a list of arguments basically saying what you want to do with it. And after multiple attempts, I was able to get it to a point where maybe it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. So I cleaned up the audio, remixed it back with the video, and then I had an okay result. But yeah, that's a kind of thing. Like I said, yeah, I missed Skype because I had everything set up just so. I had everything, I was comfortable with it. I had everything set up just so. And then the rug got pulled out from under that. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And I use professional podcast software and all that. But the part of the problem is, like with these call-ins, I don't have control over the caller's hardware. Like, what, you're using a phone, you're using a PC, do you have a separate microphone, all that kind of stuff. So kind of trying to bring all that together is it's challenging, and it's not, well, I say it's not my forte, but maybe it's becoming so as I learn more about doing this. Makes it interesting. So I think with all of that said, do either of you folks want to you have any thoughts to close this out before I close it out?
I believe all dogs should be walked to the nearest volcano and tossed in, but I'll stick by that story forever.
I would agree with that.
Well, anyway, thanks both of you for joining. Look forward to having you back. I don't know when the next one is going to be, but I'll keep everybody posted. As usual, if anyone's interested in joining, well, both of you have my email address, and we're all connected on Zoom. So with that said, this is Animal on Control, and as always, people first. Thanks, guys.
Hey, take care, you guys.
Yep.
Thank you. Take care. It was nice to meet you both.
All right.